if I would take a look at what I'm playing or what I'm thinking of, all of that stuff when I'm playing a tune like Auld Lang Syne. So I'm just going to turn off the dehumidifier. Like this is a really good place to start for this kind of chord melody thinking and all of this sort of stuff. So the real gist of being able to do this, I think, is two things. Firstly, you need to be able to play the melody without really thinking about it. And be able to play it kind of all over the neck. You probably, if you're going to be trying to play chords with this stuff, want to concentrate on that melody being contained within the G being E string, ideally. That's kind of the system for this sort of stuff, because you want to leave the strings below free to be able to play one or two other notes that can illustrate what the chord is. Map out, I think, that melody in a few ways. So you might want to take it horizontally. And yeah, you want to be able to consistently play that sort of thing without falling off of that particular log metaphor. A good way to practice this sort of stuff is to simply try and play vocal melodies or traditional melodies like this, whether it's a carol, maybe it's something like the national anthem for whatever country you come from, but these things that you don't have to think about to remember, you're just hearing the melody in your head and trying to execute it on the guitar in whichever key you're playing it in. So I picked F for no particular reason other than I like the sound of the key F. And similarly to doing this with melodies, you want to be able to kind of pick out chords, or if you don't have that yet, find the chords written down. But so in my head I can tell that there's the harmony that is moving underneath those chords is from chord 1 to chord 5 to chord 1 to chord 4, chord 1, chord 5, chord 4, back to chord 1. So for me, because I've done this so many times, that doesn't take effort. For someone who's trying to get into this, what I would again suggest you do is pick songs that you don't have to really think about too much, simple pop tunes, and figure out what the chords are doing. Oasis tunes, Ed Sheeran songs, these things which aren't terribly complicated, so that you can just get used to the idea of hearing, okay, right, if I'm in key of F, the chord 4 is going to sound like bum. Chord 2 would sound like chord 5, and it's, you know, getting used to the sound of these things in your head so that when you hear a chord 4 you can sort of pick it out. The only way that I know of to be able to get better at this, because personally I've done it, is by picking out things literally by ear. So I wouldn't say go and listen to a ton of different things, but you could try and make it like a daily thing to pick out one chord change by ear from a simple pop tune. So your first step might be, okay, I need to identify the key of this Ed Sheeran tune. So that's step 1, and then you hear a change away from the tonic. And my ear would tell me that that's chord 6 away from the tonic. So that's another part of this. So once you've done that, it's sort of a process of putting those two things together. You could be quite meticulous about this and plan out some really pretty stuff, or you could be lazy and simplistic like I like to be, or spontaneous might be another word for it. So I'm thinking, I know that there needs to be an F underneath that, so here's an F. And then I know that I need to get to a chord 5. This kind of bar is really useful for chord melody because I can get all of the notes that are important to a C7. I've got a C there, I've got a B flat, I've got a suspended 9 in there, the D, and in the top I've got a 5th. So we get A, the G in the top, and I can get down to the F, to the G. So you could try. That might work nicely too. So we've got G there, and then I play an A on the 7th fret and an F on the 6th. I like the way that sounds. So you can add these things as you get better at this sort of thing. And then another melody note. I'm thinking that that's got an A in the bass first inversion, because I know that what it's going to follow is going to be a B flat. So if you're going from chord 1, it makes sense to move that bass note. And again, we're using a bar here. I've got the B flat and I'm playing the 3rd in a D on the 7th fret on the G string, and I'm playing an F here, and in the top I've got my 3rd again. You could experiment with different things for that. So up here maybe you could play a B flat, something like that. I like that because there's not a big jump. Or you could use an A minor instead of an F in first inversion. Okay, then back to the F. So I know that I need to be playing a C in the top there, so I'm picking that first inversion F again. So we've got an A, C, F, and we've got the 9 there, low down. And then up to the C, and I'm suspending the 4th. Back to the B flat. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about each of those aspects. UPS are about to arrive. But you could also just try and harmonise it with just these triads. So you could just use triad shapes. Right, need to go let them in. That's that done. Right, so as I talk about this next section, which the melody is up here, I think it's important to note that you want to be able to possibly think of at least 2 places that you could play in any of the chords that you need to select here. So I need an F here, so I at least want to spot a root here, or a root here, or a root here, which I can't get to. This is what I mean, like you want to be able to spot a route which is efficient to get to if you're trying to do both at the same time, if that makes sense. So for that I'm thinking of this F, and then this C sus, and then the F in first inversion again, because I know that following that will be a B flat. to the F, C to the 4. That's a really nice chord for 4. So we've got the F in the top, and then we've got a C and a G, which is like a 6 and a 9. And it also enables us to play the melody around. So again, just an F, C sus, an F in first inversion, and you could even do this last one with an F in second inversion, so you'd have a C in the bass called like a dominant pedal. So that's a way that I kind of put together really simple chord melody. I'm not trying to do loads of flashy stuff. What I'm trying to do is get the point of the melody across and have my nan be able to recognise the tune that I'm playing, rather than loads of fancy rehums. I think what's fun about this is if someone else can recognise what you're doing. Now I'll try and play it in a totally different way, in different places on a fretboard, and see if I can do it. So, you know, once you've started to do this a few times, you'll find that you have habits that kind of work, I think, hopefully anyway. But that's kind of what's going through my mind. I'm thinking, or not really thinking of the melody, because hopefully you get that to a point where it's just sort of taking care of itself. And then you're trying to visualize where you think the roots for these things might be. That could be a really good thing to do first. So just try and play a root of each chord and the melody simultaneously. But yeah, that's how I'm thinking of it. I'll put together a tab of some sort of idealised version of this for you if you liked the version that I'm trying to weave as I go along. But hopefully that gets you somewhere closer to knowing what it was that I was thinking of when I was playing that, if you were at all interested in that. And that's kind of my best attempt at describing the process there and how I might get there. Please feel free to like and subscribe if this is the sort of video that you'd like to see me continue to do. Yeah, and my Patreon is where you'll find not only this HX Stomp preset, which does this pretty little freeze thing, of my other lessons and like lick lessons and chord melodies and the bits of jazz and stuff that I work on. So hopefully there will be something there for you if you're interested in this sort of stuff. Cheers. Right, okay, so there is a plan to get some guitar stuff in this video. I wanted to talk about my chord melody version of Auld Syne. It was New Year's. I did like a little bit of an improvised thing, and I just wanted to use that as an opportunity to talk about chord melody, how I'd harmonise it, and what I'm thinking of. So yeah, anyway, but before we got there, this is a picture of a man named Alan Gosling, 79, and I saw this chap coming up in the news. He unfortunately has been the first person to contract bird flu in the UK. He's in isolation now, but what really caught my eye was that he's believed to have caught the H5N1 strain of avian influenza from the 160 Muscovy birds living around his home in Buckfastleigh, Devon. So if 160 ducks aren't going to do it, I don't know what will. Apparently 20 of them were living in his house as well. So I mean, that sounds like a good time to me. But yeah, 160 ducks, 20 living in his house. He feels fine. There's a quote here, "I can't stop thinking about the ducks." Clearly, mate. Also, my dad doesn't really look like me. This guy does. Sorry, I just looked at this again. His name is Alan Gosling. That's a bit on the nose, isn't it? Might as well have called him Alan Duck. And also, obviously the birds had to be killed, which is sad. He's described that as the worst moment of his life. I'm as fit as healthy as I was donkeys years ago. I don't know why he's bringing another animal into the mix. Looking after the ducks kept me busy and active every day of the year. I don't know about you, but to me that sounds like a hell of a libido.